What is up, everybody? Welcome back to 40K. In between episodes I went ahead and leveled up, but I did actually get the trophy, the Rise, while doing that, gained a second tier doctrine. Let's go ahead and show you what these guys ended up with. So we took Vanguard on Gregor here, and we'll take it on Ablard as well. It gets Unyielding Beacon. Each attack against the Vanguard grants them a stack of Unyielding Beacon. Each stack increases the resolve by 1 up to a maximum of 15. All eyes and 2 cells around the Vanguard gain 1/5 of that bonus. Temporary wounds applied now stacked, but only remain stacked until the start of the next turn. The remaining temporary wounds are reduced to the largest amount granted by 1 applied effect. If the remaining number of temporary wounds is less than the number of stacks unyielding. Yep, so there we go. That's him. Pascal here became a grand strategist and got combat tactics. Specific areas that apply bonuses to all allies, including them. They get the front line, the back line, and the rear on the first 3 turns, and then blah blah blah. Assassin for Heinrich's here. He gets an opening basically on one side of the enemy. He attacks at more damage. Bounty Hunter for Argenta. When she marks someone as a prey, when she kills them, then she gets, you know, a bonus for doing that. Cassia here is also a grand strategist, and Adira is also a bounty hunter. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now another thing, features should have all the stuff on people's bars. I'm just making sure because it seems like there are some things missing, like perhaps joint analysis that's not on there anywhere. We don't need these pop up, so it's fine. Heinrichs. He looks like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. It's got charge, endure. We don't need those two, so it's 1 2, so it's only 1 2 6 7. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Beautiful. Then you are missing your dash. Don't need these on there. So that means 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Beautiful. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Nice. And then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Beautiful. All right, now we have Argenta has her dash on her thing and we can actually use it. That's great. Let's head back to the void ship bridge. Oh, rebel sniper rifle. Fist. We can't use these things, so we might as well just toss them in here for now. They're heretical. We don't have any heretics that use this. So wait, maybe we do. I don't think we do though, right? Nobody's a heretic. Wait, you might be a heretic. Yeah, she might be a heretic. Which we'll find out in a bit. I think she is. And I think that's actually the end of Act 1, which is awesome. Thanks be to the Emperor, you are alive, your lordship. We are most gratified by your return, and the crew is full of zeal to carry out any orders you may have. Before anything else, I'll hear an account of what happened to the system's sun. The Lord Captain, we saw a number of ships approach the sun, black creations of inhuman make, amalgams of sharp angles and edges. They surrounded the star, and then, my apologies, but I struggle to find words that could describe that terrible sight. The Xenos made the sun vanish into the void. Drukari. You see Ablard's expression change as if a shadow has suddenly fallen over him. He rubs his temple wearily, as if we didn't have enough troubles on our hands already. Or Xenos succeeded. The Xenos, enemies of humanity? A breed of the Elderai. the most cruel and devious of their kind. The design of their ships matches the descriptions provided by the Voxmaster. Like all Xenos, the Drukhari are a blight on the face of the galaxy, but their technological superiority is indisputable. They abhor and fear warp sorcery, which is why they rely on creations of their twisted intellect, and many of those creatures are capable of things that may seem akin to sorcery to the unenlightened eye. The theft of a son is one example of what you're capable of. Are the Xenos in league with Aurora's cultists? We can rule out that possibility. The Drukhari would never ally themselves with the archenemy's worshippers. If I had to name one thing that humanity and the Xenos have in common, it would be the shared loathing for warp corruption. Heinrichs glances around. The situation calls for immediate action, Gregor. We can continue the conversation later if you so wish, but right now, I believe you should assume command. What is the current situation on board? The navigator's sanctum is no longer empty, but the warp engine is still refusing to obey the engine seers. Without it, we can not perform a warp jump. Pasco's voice buzzes anxiously from his box. It may be angry, or perhaps it is lamenting the injuries it has suffered. I will immediately initiate preparations for a prayer service. If the Omnissiah grants me comprehension, I will appease the machine spirit of the vessel. Why did you not send a shuttle to the planet for me? I do apologize, your lordship, but we were unable to receive your request for evacuation. The Voxlink was overrun with vile interference, screams, blasphemous hymns, and other equally sinister noises. Any who listened to the interference for a protracted period lost their sanity. Several dozen operators went mad monitoring the Voxcaster in hopes of hearing your voice. Each one of them waited in vain. What is happening on the planet now? Our augur operators are reporting numerous uprisings and other manifestations of the archenemy's power at various locations on the planet. But based on the fragments of communications picked up by our Vox operators, there's practically no resistance being offered by the governor's forces. Millions of people are converting to the blasphemous Final Dawn cult en masse and assembling in the prayer circles. Do we have any hope of retaking the planet? I fear that Reichad Minoris is lost. The situation is deteriorating by the minute. We must leave the system as soon as possible. However, there are still people on the planet who have not succumbed to the heresy and are worthy of rescue. Besides a small number of our own shuttles, we also have shuttles salvaged from the starport. The dark eyes of the Sister of Battle flash. We must save as many as we can. This has all happened for a reason. Saint Argenta, whose name I carry with reverence and trepidation, is famed for saving the people of the dying world through the power of prayer. The god Emperor himself sent a star from the heavens that lifted the saint and her followers up to the sky, away from the corruption and death. We must do as she did, direct all our efforts to saving those people who at this moment look to the heavens in hope of salvation. The lives of peasants are of little value. Our prime objective is to save the Holy Relic, the miraculous fusion reactor, and the electro priests who guard and tend to it. Abelard furrowed his brow. Every moment we spend in proximity to a dying world, we're putting ourselves at risk. Your life, Lord Captain, is far more valuable than all of Reichad Minoris. The von Valancius dynasty cannot be allowed to perish, and so, lamentable though it is, we must rule out the idea of any evacuation. Heinrich's eyes, like two deep dark pools, are resolutely fixed on you. The world is doomed, and its inhabitants along with it. The disappearance of the star was the final nudge toward death, and the finale of the Cult of Final Dawn's plans. I once witnessed a similar event, a world that surrendered to the servants of the archenemy and permitted corruption to enter too deep. At this moment, millions of people are bowing down before those who promised them salvation, and they are willingly giving over their souls to chaos, a great sacrifice, enough to bring forth a demon world. Our only hope of stopping the process is to retreat to a safe distance from the planet and conduct targeted bombing of the Electro Priest's monastery. If we blow up the reactor, a thermonuclear reaction will follow. The world's oxygen will evaporate, killing off the entire biosphere. In doing so, we will save millions of souls from a fate worse than death, and we will save Reichad Minoris from becoming an outpost of the archenemy. Whatever fate you choose for this world, I urge you to make haste, Lord Captain. The planet is burning in raging flashes of crimson and purple. I can see it even from orbit, as do I see that the storm is already upon us. With every moment that we waste, it grows more and more difficult and perilous to steer the ship through the warp's turbulent currents. I'm with the lady on this. Enough talking. We need to get out of here while we still can. Something lurking in the depths of your mind, depths of your consciousness, bristles at the passing thought of saving people. The spike of horror you feel takes your breath away. It's as if you were planning to steal the prey of a mighty predator. The planet is already wrapped in a thread surging out from the warp. It deserves to have a new master. Why can we not evacuate at least some of the people? For a simple reason that the transformation process will soon become irreversible, and our sole weapon against it is useless. The energy released by the bombardment could stoke the warp energies. I have never witnessed the aftermath of bombing a demon world before, but there's enough evidence of such attempts for me to say with confidence that you do not want to see it. Which of the planet's inhabitants can we evacuate? The nobles you rescued to Starport have given coordinates of shelters where you can find surviving aristocrats and their families. As for Sergeant Malgar's troops, they will help control the crowds of frightened commoners and prevent the shuttles from being overloaded. Thanks to you, we have salvaged many shuttles from Starport that we can now use. Ooh, I think we're going to save the reactor. We got to save the reactor. Any delay caused by loading and transporting to the ship will cost us precious time. Do not deceive yourself, Gregor. If you indulge your vanity, you will doom billions to eternal torment at the hands of the archenemy. Do not forget yourself, Interrogator. One more objection from you, and I shall forget about the need to deliver you to Footfall alive. Jesus, that's iconoclast! You detect a flicker of something beneath Heinrich's sanguine mask. Whatever it may be, it does not seep into the Interrogator's dispassionate voice. In that case, I consider it necessary to point out that the mark of the archenemy could infiltrate the ship with the priest escorting the reactor. Keep that in mind for the future. Consider it as done. It is likely our shuttles have the capacity to evacuate some people as well. The pilots subtract the commoners who have not yet converted to the cult of the final dawn. Consider it done. This will bring us to the limit of our capabilities. We have no more shuttles to use in the evacuation effort. I didn't want to threaten Heinrich's life, man. But I didn't want to go dogmatic either. The bridge is in upheaval. The technomat's prayers mix together in a senseless cacophony, while servitors work hastily to remove a hardened crust of sacred unguents from the warp engine's components. In the middle of all the tumult stands Pascal, the data slate clutched in his hands, seemingly disconnected from the flurry of activity around him. What's going on? The warp sextant is not responding to commands. The ship's spirit is rejecting our prayers in anger. I'm currently calculating a plea that might appease the noble spirit. Magos, why don't you assume control of the technomat? Surely their contribution will speed things up. It would only be a hindrance. I'm searching for a way to rectify the error. Pascal's muttering without taking his eyes off the data slate. There's a certain anxiousness to the way he moves his mechadendrites. Crew, heed the word of Magos, Hanuman, Pascal, I kindly request that you take charge of this mess. Thank you, Your Lordship, you're right. Pascal's voice changes when he addresses the crew. He now speaks with authority and resolve. Tech comrades, heed my instruction. The mayhem immediately subsides, and the crew's actions fall into some indiscernible logic. The Omnissiah's servants start working in sync, and the Bienharic clamor becomes a symphony of reports, with the Magos coordinates like a skillful conductor. Admirably done, Pascal. The Omnissiah guides me. Prayers of the tech priest surrounding the cogitator almost drown out the sounds of the bustling bridge behind you. Pascal, poring intently over the data slate in his hand, extends a mechadendrite toward you. Please take your place at the cogitator, Lord Captain. First, explain what we're doing. I studied the data and discovered a machine node that was damaged as a result of the heretic sabotage. The functioning of the warp sextant was tampered with, and the ship's spirit, aggrieved by this violation of the right of operation, is now rejecting its calculations. I sought a way to rectify this error and have concluded that your participation is necessary to do so. The cogitator systems of this temple of the Omnissiah are subordinate to the shell whose repository serves the machine we see before us. A machine created for your predecessor and the one that uses the biological signatures of dynastic blood in its computations. The spirits should recognize the ship's master and submit to his will. Should. That should sounded less than reassuring. Lord Captain, comes the crackle from Pascal's vox, part belaggard sigh, part interference. I am still poorly acquainted with this void ship. The acolytes here have adopted their own customs for conversing with those machine spirits. They do not know me, and they express themselves in a little-known dialect of technolingua. I will trust in the Omnissiah that my analysis of the data was correct. It means that we have a chance of appeasing the ship's spirit. Let's do it. The huge machine in front of you is lit with dozens of vid screens and hundreds of lumens. The blinking lights and endless rush of symbols and digits on the green background make your eyes water, and a vague sense of alarm simmers in the depths of your mind. The typical reaction of a layperson when confronted with the magnitude of the Omnissiah's creation. Among the numerous controls, you see the mouth of a cyber gargoyle, the same as at the gate to the warrant chamber. Pascal's voice becomes imbued with imperious force. Servants of the machine god, heed my command. Acolytes, prepare the instrumentation for the liturgy of machine spirit propitiation. Senior technomats, recite the prayer to generate a current data report. Operations will be marked with the campanological protocol Omnissiah Rejoice. Must inform you that for the purposes of safety, complete reassembly of the warp sextant and updating of its datasmith blessings are required. If this is not done, then at launch the volumes of aggregate calculation errors could result in the destruction of the data crypts. But as we do not have 100 hours at our disposal, we must omit this procedure. Pascal looks down at the data slate in his hands. A minor deviation for the writer operation for the sake of appeasing the spirit. What must I do? Place your hand inside the throat of the cogitator guardian, the cyber gargoyle, which has been assigned to guard the forbidden data crypts. The dynastic blood extracted from your veins will serve as a key to the data core where the machine spirit dwells. To it we will offer our prayers so that we may bypass the protective protocol for defective connections and launch the warp sextant. Pascal's voice grows quieter. The laws of the Omnissiah know no exceptions, and so in this ritual I remain at your side to placate the wrathful machine spirit in whose abode you will be intruding. Follow my liturgies, Lord Captain, we may receive his blessing. Place your hand in the cyber gargoyle's mouth. The metal jaws clamp down your hand, breaking your delicate corporeal sheath and releasing warm liquid into its gullet. At the same moment, the image on the vid screen before you changes. Connecting, connecting, connecting. Success! By my authority, I revoke the inviolability protocol of the warp engine. What does this all mean? The sound of your voice, the cogitator servant, whose bronze-bound skull is built into the cogitator housing, shudders with a screech. Its skull rotates towards you and then stops in that position. Benevolent cold, the voice receptor. Pascal emits a sequence of binary signals and then is silent for several seconds. I hypothesize that the defect is located in the analyzer block. I register a reaction to the signal, but no processed response. A temporary override is permissible. The Magus studies the vid screen. The shell was created on a forge world unknown to me, initiating standard invocation of the machine spirit. Pascal leans over the adjacent instrument panel and sets his hands on the controls. At the same time, a quiet stream of machine code begins pouring forth from his vox. What should I do now? Lord Captain, I now ask you to address the machine spirit. Speak the following command. By my authority, I revoke the inviolability protocol of the warp engine. The voice receptor will receive the vocal entry. Without your sanction, the machine spirit will not accept the data. By my authority, I revoke the inviolability protocol of the warp engine. One of the cogitator vid screens turned red. Pascal sees this and raises his hand, signaling the rest of the tech priest, and withdraws a connector from his sleeve and connects it to the machine. Servants of the Omnissiah now make the offering of cleansed data crypts to the machine spirit so that it may be filled with their true and calibrated data. May the Omnissiah have mercy on our souls. In meek solemnity, the acolytes offer up cleansed data crypts to the warp engine one after another, repeating prayers of exaltation. After anointing the contracts with sacred unguents, Pascal inserts them into the cogitator slots. Your head begins to spin from the holy censer's foul-smelling clouds of smoke and from the loss of blood that the cyber gargoyle continues to drink from you, and the world swims before your eyes. Let this mechanism awaken in its renewed purity. Pascal enters a sequence of commands and raises his head, watching the vid screen. Suddenly, he stops. No. His fingers fly over the command runes, entering command after command. His mechadendrites, clicking their pincers, pull at one lever after another. The vid screens fill with strings of symbols, completely incomprehensible to you, but clearly conveying something to the Magus. Is everything all right, Magus? After a few seconds, one of the data crypts mounted on the cogitator begins to emit sparks. A moment later, another data crypt does the same. The next bursts into flame and gives off a foul-smelling smoke. Around you, the Omnissiah's servants break off from their prayers, and someone bursts into frantic pleading. Pascal's mournfully grades out. The massive errors in the warp sextant's calculations is destroying the data repositories. The offering did not appease the ship's spirit. The warp engine cannot be filled with the motive force. We are trapped. A moment later, the Magus continues uncertainly. Perhaps an alternative Ryzan protocol or an emergency launch of the auxiliary coils. The tech priests bend over the cogitator, but something in his pose and movements reveals his desperation. While the other vid screens are filled with more and more strings of symbols, the monitor in front of you blinks and static image changes. Pascal is too engrossed in his ritual to notice. Read the information. Pack comp, OS stab, false, OS stab, true, stat, query. Machine spirit, can you hear me? The cogitator servant creaks quietly in his joints, a sound that is drowned out by the binary hymns of the tapping of the command runes. Machine spirit, this is the Lord Captain of this vessel. Obey me and start the warp engine. Pascal's voice shakes with tension. That was a non-executable request, Lord Captain. Even the voice receptor could interpret such a... Pascal's next vocalization goes unsynthesized as he sees the vid screen begin to stabilize one after another. The strings frenetically galloping across the green background are replaced with stable images or regularly updating status reports. Only one monitor remains inexplicably red. Tech Priest Vox crackles in shock, but his report is as clipped and clinical as ever. Registering, warp sextant activated. Registering, data stream stabilized. Registering, 0 data errors found. Reporting, the warp engine is ready for translation. After a pause, Pascal adds, I'm also reporting evidence indicating a Category 3 miracle fulfilling the criterion. Thou shalt witness the mechanism that toils in glorification of its function and in defiance of deactivation. Lord Captain, Ravor here. The crew are almost finished carrying out the orders given earlier, and I've just received confirmation from the engineering hall. So I don't know what you did, but the warp engine's up and raring to go. We're ready to begin translation to the warp, your lordship. What just happened? Hypothesize the ship's her spirit heard our prayers and intervened. It summoned the power of the Omnissiah to do something beyond my comprehensions. I know little of the Omnissiah's sacred machines, but what I saw on the screen looked strange. A non-standard output of information lost in the data core. The servitors used as data conduits are not always fully lobotomized. Fragments of their thoughts can appear even in pure code. It appears the Omnissiah perceives and knows the power of your faith, Pascal. He would not have worked this miracle otherwise. I hope you will grant me a revelation that will allow me to comprehend the nature of this miracle. Pascal's Vox buzzes with wonder and an undercurrent of exultation. Contact Ravor. The Lord Captain is speaking. I give the order to commence translation to the warp. Waiting for you to ascend to the captain's throne, Lord Captain. May the Emperor protect us. I'm dying here, guys. So many big words. But let's ascend. Intense. End of Act 1. Oh, this is cool.
The Von Valancia's flagship made its way out of the doomed star system. As the void ships plunged deeper into the Koronus Expanse, the rogue trader's subjects bid a formal farewell to the late head of the dynasty, Theodora von Valancius. Having paid their last respects, the crew gathered their strength and braced themselves for whatever was to come next.
Nice. We made it through the first chapter on unfair difficulty. Whew. Crazy. Lord Captain, allow me to report. Our journey through the warp is coming to an end. Lady Navigator Rosilio informs me that we've reached the point where we can translate to real space in the Furibunda system. The Lady Navigator and her pilots are awaiting your permission to begin the process. The Furibunda system is home to Footfall, the only Imperium outpost with a functioning wharf in the Koronus Expanse. The tech priests are begging you to have mercy on the machines worn down by the warp and allow the servants of the Omnicide to inspect and heal the void ship's wounds in the dock. The prayers and rituals will take some time, with our astropathic choir will use to establish a connection with the prime worlds of your protectorate, Dargonus, Janus, and Kiava Gamma. Master Zachariah Wise has recovered an invitation previously adrift in the Imperium. The Liege of Footfall has humbly requested an audience with the rogue trader of the Von Valancius dynasty. According to Master Zachariah, the message was tinted with shades of pleading. I quote, apparently the Liege is anxious to meet as soon as possible. Footfall, the place where the filth and the sanctity go hand in hand. Reverend Koronus Doloroso will most likely expect a visit from me. I imagine he'll be interested in talking to you as well, Gregor. I'll be leaving your void ship when we arrive on Footfall, Gregor. Once that is done, consider the Lord Inquisitor's task complete. Your Lordship, young Yvain Winterscale has asked me to convey his gratitude for your hospitality for saving him from certain death. Not wishing to outstay his welcome, he plans to disembark at Footfall. Lord Yvain swears he will not forget his debt to you. I hereby inform the rogue trader that during a comprehensive system inspection this unit discovered data clusters within the captain's cogitator that are concealed from prying eyes by means of a personal cipher and a sacrament of algorithmic authorization. Unit Gregor von Valancius has been added to the access list and assigned the identifier Keeper 2. The unit can access the data from the captain's cogitator, providing he possesses a decryption key. You detect a hint of something resembling curiosity. Are you leaving us, Heinrichs? The arrangement between the Lord Inquisitor and your predecessor was that I be transported to Footfall and no farther. I dare not take advantage of your generosity and patience any more than I already have, Gregor. You're a skilled fighter. I could use people like you. What do you say you extend your stay in my retinue? Thank you for your offer, but I must decline. I'm afraid my duty to the Golden Throne comes before everything else. Argento, who is this reverend that wants to talk to me? He's the head of the Drusian mission on Footfall and one of the most prominent clergymen in the sector. Paying him a visit is a good thing for any local servant of the Emperor to do. I assisted his mission before I joined Lady Theodora on her voyage. I need his blessing to accompany the new rogue trader of the Von Valancius dynasty. If you wish to have me aboard your void ship, I request that we meet with Reverend. Koronus. Vigdis, tell me about the system we're arriving on. Verbundus is valuable due to its close proximity to the Maw, the gateway to the Imperium. The system is mostly known for Footfall, the main base for merchants, privateers, and rogue traders traversing the Koronus Expanse. Additionally, the star itself is orbited by a Adeptus Mechanicus station, which is off limits to outsiders. Alter Templum Calixus EXT-17. I had the honor of tending to this shrine for a few thousand cycles. I suggest you abstain from visiting it, as most tech comrades of the station are engaged in meditative calculations to not be interrupted. What do I need to know about Footfall? It is the largest port and the trading capital of the Koronus Expanse. It has a dockyard that will allow us to inspect and repair the voidship, and it boasts its own astropathic choir, the Koronus Expanse Communications Nexus. Not to mention pirate hideouts, smugglers' caches, and forts belonging to dozens of gangs, groups, and factions in the Koronus Expanse. The Imperium relies on this as its outpost. The fringes of humanity's domain rarely resemble its central worlds, but so long as Footfall serves the God Emperor insofar as it can, it will be considered a citadel of the Imperium, although I have heard that the tithes it sends are underwhelming, to say the least. Due to Footfall's remoteness, it has developed its own rules and customs. Many of the goods that can be procured there would be considered heresy in the heart of the Imperium, enough to warrant summary execution. Moreover, Footfall is the domain of the rogue traders, who transcend certain Imperial laws by virtue of the warrant they bear. Footfall is just a brief stop. What next? As soon as we solve the issues plaguing the ship and establish contact with the key worlds of your protectorate, the time will come for your Magnae Accessio, the official ceremony of donning the mantle of rogue trader. It is mostly a formality at this point. You're already in possess of all the privileges granted by the warrant, and yet it is a major milestone in your personal history. The moment your name graces the lists of the heads of the Von Valancius dynasty, we are all looking forward to that day, Lord Captain. Ablar, do you know anything about the Liege of Footfall? Vladium Tokara is a very peculiar young man. Consider your upcoming conversation a baptism of fire in Footfall's political arena. Such things are not spoken out loud, but Liege Tokara is the appointee of the Kabilika Mission, the largest robber baron crime syndicate in the Calixus sector. They specialize in the cold trade, the buying and selling of all kinds of Xenos rubbish. Footfall was previously run by a liege who did business with several criminal factions at once, but he suffered an accident. The reins of power were picked up by the Vladium Tokara, whose appointments benefit not only the Kazbalika, but also the most powerful ally in the Koronus Expanse, rogue trader Caligos Winterscale. Vladium is a slippery yet very conscious fellow. He does not usually beat around the bush and does not play mind games. Perhaps more importantly, he is no fool. Fools do not rise high in Kazbalikan hierarchy. Keep all this in mind. You are a rogue trader. You stand above him in status, wield considerable power. Having said that, the history has seen cases where Kazbalikan barons crossed swords with rogue traders and emerged victorious. Do not forget that and remain vigilant. The Kazbalika, vile tech thieves. Pascal's Vox burst out the last word like profanity. Why does the liege want to see me so badly? Not you personally. He wishes to meet with a rogue trader of the Von Valancius dynasty. Takara does not know about Lady Theodora's death and is simply seeking an audience with the powers that be. My gut is telling me that something must be very wrong of Footfall if our astropath managed to read such strong emotion in such an anodyne message. We have no information, Lord Captain. The broadcast was from Footfall Astropathic Choir was the only missive Master Zachariah has received lately. To the Lady Navigator, I give her leave to make translation from warp into real space. I'm gonna die, guys. Victus begins issuing instructions. The massive ship appears to change with every word. The bridge is set in motion as hundreds of people start to prepare for the shift to real space, and measured chanting fills the corridors to safeguard the vessel and its crew. Victus turns to you again. One more thing, Lord Captain. No one at the station knows about Lady Theodora's demise, and you inheriting the title, Liege Tokara, will be informed. It is required so that we can use the dock, and besides, he's expecting a personal audience with the rogue trader. He will not meet with an unknown person of unclear standing. However, there's still the matter of announcing your arrival. You can either arrive on the station with the proper pomp and ceremony, or choose to visit it incognito. Tell me how the choices will benefit me. According to Footfall's unwritten laws, the rogue traders enjoy special privileges that exceed even the power of the liege. However, they may choose not to exercise those privileges in certain situations. Arriving incognito will give you more room for maneuver, while an official visit will allow you to directly intervene in local affairs. I shall explain if you do not mind. According to the unwritten rule, every rogue trader arriving at the station has the right to veto any of the Liege's decisions, but there's a catch. The Koronus Expanse is home to several influential rogue trader dynasties, and Footfall is where their interests intersect. Of course, it does not prevent certain persons, namely Caligos Winterscale, from subtly pulling the strings in Footfall. If you, as a new rogue trader, start your career with an official landing and a parade in your honor, the other dynasties may see this gesture as the newcomer challenging their spheres of influence. I do not see that as a bad thing necessarily. Old Man Winterscale may take slight offense. Shorter will be put on her guard, but you have just risen to prominence, and most people in the Koronus Expanse have not heard about Lady Theodora's departure yet. It must be clear that the banner of Von Valancius soars as high as ever. If I may, I would recommend arriving incognito. You'll have plenty of opportunities to savor the sweetness of your burden of power, but right now is the last time you can take refuge in obscurity. This way your arrival will not draw much attention, and the people will treat you as a person and not an almighty sovereign anointed by the Emperor. It could turn some situations to your advantage. Let's go incognito. It will be done, Lord Captain. Vignis bows. With your gracious permission, I will return to my duties. All right. I am sure we have things to say in the new chapter. Anything interesting? You may be interested to know the group of officers was discussing a grim rumor over lunch. Word has it that the apparition of Lord Captain Theodora has been sighted on board lately. Yes, you heard right. They say she is haunting the decks, dragging wayward crew members off into oblivion. Disquiet has spread through the ships, as the anomaly has been reported at different sections, sometimes entire kilometers apart. Master Heinrich von Kalix expressed interest in our communication stations and Voxnets a short while ago. The interrogator appears to be very well versed in the matter of sacred technology, and it worries me. A man of his knowledge and in his line of work is capable of discreetly planting his own devices in our systems. We will be vigilant, Lord Captain, but you should try to be more careful as well. Be all for now. Alright. Thanks for letting me know. How you doing, helmsman? Lord Captain? Nothing new? Great, fantastic. Argenta?
Greetings.
Nothing new, fantastic.
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations. As the only voice, you wish to know? You will hear the behind.
Alright, nothing new. Just making sure, you know. We gotta make sure. Actually surprised there's nothing new for any of these people yet.
Lord Captain. Lord.
Hendrix?
To what do I owe this visit?
I factotum. Surprised Pascal's not over here. Able. And Adira, just checking just to make sure. Alright, doesn't look like there's really anything to talk to anybody about. Let's go to my chamber, shall we? See my new portrait. It's me! I look fantastic. We have some new things to look at apparently in the is it my personal cogitator? Is that what I need to look at? I thought he said that I had access to like new stuff to read about, didn't he? I thought he did. Footfall. Yeah, I want to do that. Is that not in here? It must be out here. J. The bridge cogitator once belonged to Theodore. Okay, bridge. Von Valancius voidship. I'm on the Von Valancius voidship. What do I need to decrypt? Is it this? Yes. The reflections of the bright lights are playing on the unlit vid screens of the cogitator. Next to the machine stands a hunched tech priest who bows at your approach, his body nearly folding in half. Lord Captain, the machine spirit of the mechanism slumbers. Should you wish to awaken it, use the key of your blood. Who are you and what is your purpose here? My designation is IH630. The tech priest points his only mechadendrite at the machine beside him. The venerated engineer Prime has entrusted the sacred mechanism into my care. It is now my duty to assist the rogue trader's understanding of the hallowed code. What is the blood key I'm supposed to use? The key you seek is the dynastic blood which runs in your veins. It is the only way to rouse this cogitator machine spirit. When you're ready to do so, place your hand in the mouth of the guardian servitor on the blessed control panel. Let's do it. And its powers. Yep, powers on. Great. The tech priest by the cogitator nods curtly. The sacred mechanism is awake and ready to receive your request, Lord Captain. Pascal has informed me that the system has encrypted data storage inside. I wish to know its contents. Without another word, the tech priest turns to the cogitator. He raises his hands and a prayer of binary code pours out of his Vox device. The servo motors in the bowels of the machine grow louder, its undulating hum responding to his chant. Numerical combinations run down the screens. Scanning, bloop, bloop, bloop. The machine spirit has discovered numerous critical errors. The data is damaged. The tech priest stops abruptly and the green glow of his visor narrows, registering an intact segment. The machine spirit has spoken. The words of Kiava Gamma and Dargonus hold certain data repositories. The mechanism is ready to provide the rogue trader with data keys that can unlock said repositories. What data repositories? That remains hidden. The encrypted databank belonged to the esteemed Theodora von Valancius. She was the only one who could have known about these repositories. Perhaps the former Engineer Prime also could have known. Omnissiah accept his code. If I were to propose a hypothesis, it would be prudent of a figure as eminent as a rogue trader to store classified data in receptacles most secure. How do I accept these keys? Boop, 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 boop. The gracious machine spirit is willing to transfer the data keys to the head of the House von Valancius by means of an electu, a hypodermic tattoo augment. If you're ready to accept the keys, place your hands inside the servitor's mouth. Deep within the servitor's dark gullet, unseen burning hot needles pierce your wrist. But the sharp pain only lasts a moment. The electu is implanted inside your wrist. Should be enough to open the repository doors. I need to know more about the caches. Bloop, 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 bloop. The Omnissiah favors you. The machine spirit is willing to commence the calculation procedure that could restore the lost data. Restore the data cache on Dargonus. Success. The machine hums louder until it lets out a resounding crackle. Then the sounds stop, and an unmoving numerical combination lights up the screen. The tech priest synthesized voice sounds almost concerned. The data has been restored, but it is only a single phrase. Litanies of the motive force. That is all the sacred mechanism was able to salvage. I'm interested in the one on Kiava Gamma. Growing louder comprehensively. Blessed are the Omnissiah's deeds. The repository in Kiava Gamma has a security system guarding it. The machine spirit has recovered a code that will allow you to disable the defenses. Nice. I have other questions. The tech priest of the Adeptus Mechanicus may be able to discern how the ship was able to start a warp engine. The Engineer Prime spends hours pursuing the quest of knowledge in hopes of comprehending the nature of said miracle. May the Omnissiah's grace guide him on his journey. There is no doubt that it was a miracle sent by the Omnissiah as a manifestation of his will, yet the Engineer Prime managed to perceive some logical connection within the streams of data. I am not privy to this connection, but the Engineer Prime will surely share the newly discovered knowledge with you in a detailed report. Remind me who you are. We already know who he is. Great. Awesome. Fantastic. Let's just take a look at the map before we head out. I just want to look. Furibundos. Oh dear. Lord Captain. Raver's voice over the Vox sounds weary rather than annoyed. I'm getting several reports of several ships moving towards us. Judging by the fact that they're not responding to our hails, and the telemetry shows a trail of macro batteries, they're not here for chinwag. Ready to issue orders to prepare to battle at your command. Where do they come from? The rubbish of Furibundus, and I'm not talking about those wrecks that are about to open fire. I mean the remains of meteorites, gas clouds, refuse from shipyards, all bunches together, and the similar ships hide behind it to harass ships as they emerge from war. Could this be the work of Kunrad Voigtbeer? The silence of the Vox left for several seconds. It's possible. You could have hired some scum or maybe just a pirate who saw the state of our ship and decided to push his luck. Can we evade the combat? I don't think so, Lord Captain. There'd be no reason to. It'll be easier to blast these scum to smithereens than to evade them. We'll warn Footfall we're coming with a few macro salvos. On my order, all stations get ready for void combat. Oh god. We're probably gonna have to cut this until the next episode because I can't take any more right now. That's gonna do it for me, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.